morning, everyone. Oh, I'm like a teacher in the school if you say morning back. My name's Louise Casey, and I have the honour and privilege of being the chair of the advisory group for the Institute of Global Homelessness, which is your host for the next 48 hours. And it's an absolute pleasure to have so many people here from all over the world, all over the different continents and different countries that are in the room here today. It's a real, quite special moment for us. This is the second time that we have run this conference, and because of feedback from everybody that came last time round, we very much felt that people valued just the coming together, if nothing else, and relationships that have developed from them, both in cities and in continents. It's been an absolute honour to watch those developments and to support them. So I think that we're quite feeling quite humbled today that so many of you have come back and so many of you want to participate yet again in trying to tackle homelessness and bring relief to so many vulnerable of our citizens, that we must make sure that we do a better and better job. I hope it's okay. I'm going to take the privilege of being the chair here just for a moment and say I think it's been a very difficult 48 hours in terms of those of us from the UK, and the first victim that was announced, we had a terrorism attack on Saturday evening in London. It's our third terrorist attack in 3 months. We're looking at quite significant loss of life across the three atrocities and very significant levels of disabilities and other health issues that will run both in terms of our national psyche, but also our hearts are somewhat breaking, I would say. But the first person that was announced this morning was indeed a Canadian national who worked in homelessness in the United Kingdom. And so I felt it was quite profound, really, as we have people here from Canada, from the UK, from across the globe, and I wondered if we could do in America, you take a moment, I believe. So I would like us just to take a moment and think in memory both of Chrissy Archibald, but of all those that are currently suffering against such atrocities. Let's just take a moment. Thank you very much indeed, and thank you for allowing me to do that. That makes concentrating on another matter today easier for me personally, so thank you very much for that. I would like to say on a very positive note that we've had just the most extraordinary level of support from DePaul University yet again. The fact that we are here and in their premises, but also they are a very key partner in terms of helping us develop the Institute on Global Homelessness. It's not just about their funding, it's about that partnership and that relationship. And we have colleagues in the room today from DePaul University. And I know Father Holschneider, who is standing down as president later this month, I think. He isn't here today because he's already getting involved in tackling the issues that he's moving on to. But actually, I think we owe him an enormous debt for both this conference, but also the support to the IGH. And also the Chicago Community Trust, who I hope are here today. I think they are. They also underwrote the cost of this conference, which has enabled people to come from many, many countries where they have no money whatsoever to both participate in these sorts of events and conferences, let alone try and tackle the problems of homelessness that they face in their cities. So we're enormously grateful to the Chicago Trust for that too. And last but not least, I just need to say a huge thank you to colleagues and friends now from Chicago City itself, who actually always host, reach out, organise events, put up with me, put up with Kat, and God knows they put up with Mark McGreevy for the last 18 months, which I can tell you is trying. We shipped him out to Chicago for 18 months hoping we'd have a bit of quiet time in the UK, but he's bloody coming back. But anyway, there we are. We'll have you back, Mark. We might let you back in. We haven't quite signed the Brexit deal yet, so you're still all right. You're still all right. So, I'm sorry that was a bit of a serious start, but I'm really looking forward to the next 48 hours. It's a pleasure to see some of you that we met before, and it's an absolute honour to welcome those that we haven't met before. I'm now going to hand over to Kat Johnson, or am I going to hand over to Mark McGreevy? Just Kat Johnson, there you go, I've got my running order correct.
Good morning, everyone. I want to start by saying that in your program, it says Mrinalini Ravi will be emceeing the conference. And those of you who are particularly clever may have figured out that I am not Mrinalini. My name is Kat. She was very sorry she couldn't make it. A personal emergency came up at the last minute, so unfortunately we will not be seeing her today. I just wanted to clear up any confusion that there might be from the program to begin. I would like to turn things over to my colleague Mark McGreevy, who, contrary to some of Dame Louise's comments earlier in the morning, is a lovely man and has done an enormous amount for the Institute of Global Homelessness over, really, since long before I arrived. Mark is the CEO of DePaul International, which alongside DePaul University is one of our founding partners and the backbone of the organization. And he has been kind enough to spend some time in the US over the last 18 months, helping us get this institute off the ground and make sure it's stable and supported. And I think you will enjoy hearing from him. So, Mark, thank you very much. I wanted to counteract Louise's.
Thanks, and I'll say my own welcome to Chicago. I've been here for 18 months now. It's a fantastic city, and I've really enjoyed being here. Although I will be glad to get back, and I think my wife will be even more pleased than me to have me back, I hope. So look, it's 2 years since we last met at this conference, and there's some people in the room that I recognise. It's great to see you here. There's a few places I don't recognise. So I thought we'd begin by just getting a sense of who is in the room. Yeah. So if you can just give me a shout out and put your hands up, right? We'll start it by country. Yeah. If you're from Australia. I didn't hear the shout out. Now, welcome to you all. I've got a few fun facts to share about these things. The first thing is that these three guys here are the only non-beer drinking Australians in the world. This is true. This is the cheapest night out you can have, right? So just mark these three guys. Great to see them. Who's here from India? Wonderful. Pleased that you've come this far in. Delighted to have you with us. Thank you so much for travelling that distance. From Latin and South America? Woo! Now, if you want the best night out tonight, this is the group you follow. And they definitely do drink beer. Okay? I know that for a fact. Welcome as well for coming that far. It's great to see you here. Anybody here from Asia? That's a big continent. Yes. Thank you so much. That's great to see so many hands up. Thank you. It's wonderful to have you here. That's great. Africa. Yeah, great. Fantastic. And many countries as well. Great to see you here. Thank you for that. Who's here from Europe? What's the shout out, Europe? You can tell that most are British. Absolutely. And the reason you can tell the Brits here from the Europeans is that they're the ones sat slightly apart from the other Europeans towards the back, near the exit. That's Brexit personified. Looking what we're doing here. And then there's the USA. How many people are from the USA? Yeah! Oh, so they shout out. They can't help themselves. It just comes out that way. And they're all looking the most fresh-faced because they've less to travel. But here's a fun fact for you. The delegation from Baltimore that are here, one of them grew up on a llama farm. This is true. No, don't put your hand up. There's a quiz going to happen on that. One of them spent the night in prison. It's a true fun fact. And one was a DJ in Japan for 2 years. Yeah. Now, whoever finds those three and comes to me telling me what their names are will win a prize at the end of the day. Okay? That's one of your challenges. So let's just get a sense of who's in the room, not by country or by area. Oh, sorry, what area of the world have I missed? I'm sorry, I thought you built a wall. I didn't know you were coming, but it's great to have you here. Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful to have you. Sorry, Canada. God, that's terrible.
And a work story.
Okay, so let's just look at kind of the groups of people we've got in the room. Can you put your hands up if you're from the world of research? If they won't shout out. And you can tell the researchers, they've all got their laptops out already. And they're thinking of difficult questions to ask the service providers. Don't worry, that won't be too difficult to do that, but welcome to all of you. Can I ask who's here from service delivery? Great, much better than being at work, isn't it? Yes, yeah, we all know that. From policy or advocacy or government? Yeah, this is too much like being at work, isn't it? This kind of conference for you guys, but welcome to here. And from foundations or from funding sources? You guys, I love the most. Okay? Of all the guys in the room, I absolutely love you. Thank you. So there you've got a sense who's here. It's a global community, and we're representing lots of different areas of work, lots of different specialisms. So I've been asked to say a few words this morning just to start us off about the IGH, about its foundation, a little bit about what's happened over the last 2 years since we all came together. So as Kat said, the IGH is a partnership between DePaul University and DePaul International, and that name DePaul says something while we've got it in common. Vincent de Paul, St. Vincent de Paul was a Catholic priest in the 16th century in Paris. But he was also one of the leading kind of like charitable people of his age. He grew an enormous charity beginning in Paris, expanding into Europe, and then globally. And that same movement now, there are 250 organisations working in charities around the world that claim their origin from that root. And they represent around about 2 million people who are active on the ground doing works of charity. And the three areas of work largely are around social work, homelessness, around health, hospitals, people who are in America, Ascension Health, you would know from other practices like that. And then education. There are 3 universities from a Vincentian route here in the United States. St. John's in New York, Niagara as well. So it's an enormous piece of work, and we are origins to that. DePaul University itself is the largest Catholic university here in America, and we've been privileged to be based here. I'll say a little bit more about DePaul International, my own charity, in a little bit. In relation to who physically is the IGH, well, it's a small organisation, but it's perfectly formed, I like to think, in the way that it's done. The governing board, and I'll just ask people to put their hands up, please, people here. Dame Louise Casey, who I think I've known since childhood. Roseanne Hegarty from Community Solutions, who's here. Jay Bratz, representing DePaul University. And our most recent member is Karen Shaden, up here from DePaul University as well. And they're the group that get together quarterly to look at how we're progressing. But beyond that, we also have an advisory board made up of people from research, from policy, practitioner, advocacy, who help us to do this. I won't name them all, because there's too many of them. But I just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you to them for all the work they do behind the scenes, especially in preparation for events like this. And in relation to the executive staff, it's a very small team indeed. In fact, we don't recruit anybody over 4'10". We have Kat. Kat here is our executive director. Molly Seeley, who's somewhere disappeared, and Tiffany Connolly. You'll see them around. If you see them, say hello to them. We'll be appointing more staff soon, but we actually deliberately are keeping staff numbers tight because we think that in different parts of the world we're going to need different language skills, different skill sets, different cultural understandings. So much of the work we're planning will be around consultancy. So if that's what we are, how did this all come to be? Well, I started in homelessness around about 30 years ago, And my involvement in this is entirely by accident. I actually began as a teacher, a housemaster in a private school in London, and was having a great time of it, but started volunteering in a day centre for homeless people called The Passage in London, and did that for a little while, and then came to really enjoy the work that I was doing, much more so than I enjoyed teaching, in truth. I also married the headmaster's daughter, so I had to get out of there pretty quickly. But I was took a job in homelessness, worked 27 years ago. I began DePaul International, as now is, and the short story is we moved from one very small project in North London to now working in 7 countries, working with about 20,000 homeless people across those countries, and they include the UK, Ireland, France, Slovakia, Ukraine, USA, and most recently Croatia, where we just began to do some work over there. And that's been amazing to be part of that growth. But one of the things that you see from that is when people hear about you expanding, they start to talk about, well, could they help us? And I was getting around about a phone call, 2 phone calls a month from different parts of the world, from Africa, from India, from Latin America, from other parts of Europe, saying, can you come in and help us to think through whether we could develop some new services here, or whether we could do things better, or whether you could help to mentor our leadership here. And DePaul is a very tight organisation in the sense that we have very few resources, and we're mainly committed to managing what we do. So I thought, well, there should be something at a global level that can offer these kind of services to the community, to the homeless community. And I thought that maybe the UN Habitat did that, or Habitat for Humanity, but the more that we researched it, that wasn't the case. And I was in Paris at a conference bemoaning this fact, and in the audience was Father Dennis Holschneider from DePaul University, and he said, well, why don't you come and do that here? So that's how the IGH started. We're still building a ship whilst we're sailing it, but you know, we're trying our best to try and get something together that will respond to those needs. So about 4 years ago, we set out an idea, and at the last conference, we began to plan what we do. So just a very brief update on where we've got to. The last conference was about developing the first ever framework on, global definition of homelessness, if you remember, those that were here, that we tried to set it out. And I'm pleased to say that work is now complete. We've finished that work. And it's being used increasingly around the world. We know that the United Nations have begun to refer to this document. We know that it's going to be a keynote document at a conference at the Vatican where the Pope will be speaking in November later this year. So that work has come out. And I just want to say a public thank you to Dennis Culhane, Suzanne Fitzpatrick and Volker Bush for all of their work on that framework and getting us over the line with that work. So thank you to you. We also talked 2 years ago about a prospective course for emerging leaders around the world, people who had great ideas and wanted to develop, but we needed to think about some time apart to kind of develop their skills and build their energies to do something. And we delivered last year the first pilot. We ran it in 3 countries. We ran it here in Chicago, we ran it in Slovakia, and we went to India. So 3 countries. And we had people on that course from Slovakia, India, South Africa, Chile, Canada, Kenya, Czech Republic, and Hungary. Some of them are in this room today. And I think everybody would agree it's made a marked difference to those people going back into leadership roles within their country. And thank you for them for participating. And that now we will run every other year here in Chicago as a residential course for emerging leaders from around the world in partnership with DePaul University. We talked 2 years ago about an online global homelessness hub. So this is going to go live in January of 2018, and we're going to be sharing both best practice and best research, and we're going to translate it into different languages, and we're going to make it available for all at no cost. That's one of the things that we pledged to do, one of the things that we're going to deliver by January of next year. And I want to thank Stephen Gates, who's not here today, from up in Toronto.
But we have Alison Marsalis, who's here with the Cleaning Observatory.
Then I want to say thank you to Alison and to their team for helping us to deliver that global homelessness. So thank you. And finally, from me, before you get into the recessions, is the IGH, a bit like Vincent de Paul back in the 16th century, would like to think about itself as a bridge between ideas and action. That it's not just a talking shop, it's about actually doing something coming out of that talking. And with this in mind, we're launching at this conference a new initiative called A Place to Call Home. And what that's going to be is that we have an intention that we're going to work with 150 cities leading up to 2030 to end homelessness in 150 cities. It's a very ambitious goal, but it's a deliberate attempt to try and build a movement to change. On Saturday, we had 10 of our vanguard cities that met here for the first time to talk through about how that might work, what it might look like, and I think it was a very positive meeting. I would like to think that any city that's in this room that's interested in this will come and find myself or Louise or one of the board and say whether in time you might be interested in talking to us about being part of this movement for change. So I've talked a lot. I was only intending to talk for 2-3 minutes, but great to see you all. Have a wonderful conference, and if we get a chance to have a coffee, that would be great as well. Okay, thank you.
Can't go yet. So just a few final notes about the way the conference will work that may help you throughout the day. I just want to echo what Louise and Mark have said, which is that we are delighted to have you here. We're grateful. We know a lot of you are very jet lagged, so again, please be kind to each other throughout the day. People are very tired, and we can't wait to see what you'll do. And I can't wait to be in some of these sessions and hear some of the learning, and we hope you'll enjoy it and you'll get to know each other. And we will now let you go. The next session will start at 10 a.m. It'll either be this room, which I believe is using data and measurement to end homelessness, or an 80-10, which will be defining an end to homelessness. Otherwise, please go enjoy the conference. We will see you again here for a plenary session after the workshops end, and we are delighted to have you. Thank you.